Greetings, everyone.
I'm back, baby.
It's Jake Ciely.
I'm great. Everybody else sucks.
Oh,
no. It's every nightmare I've ever had.
Excuse me?
It's time to check the link.
Pretty crazy, huh? But it doesn't matter because none of this has anything to do with the show.
You know what? You just made the list.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time. Really? No.
What is up, you ducks? Or actually, are you up, you ducks? Because new time, 11 a.m., which really is not that early, but it is if you're on the West Coast. Like, shout out to producer Foxy over here. That's up on the West Coast for us and will be even earlier tomorrow. So, did you just do crying face, Chris?
I did. It looked like crying, but it was like sleep out of the eyes. Sleep out of the eyes. Fox is a true trooper, but he probably had to wipe some sleep out of the eyes.
I thought your screen was about to go black because Fox was about to like double finger you. Like, screw you, dude. Like,
I love you, Fox.
New schedule going forward. Yes, it is 3 days a week now. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Very simple, except for tomorrow, but very simple. Different schedule from last year where it was like 10, 11. No, it's 11 a.m. East Coast, Eastern time. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Very simple. Tomorrow's different. I have a dentist appointment I forgot about way back when, and you know how dentists can be, and you show up 5 minutes later. Oh my God. So it's 9:45 tomorrow. You can just watch it on demand whenever you want. So, I'm going to say it, Chris. I didn't get approval for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. So I think it's okay because it's my own money. But I kind of redid my backdrop here. As you can see, I moved things around. I got more space. And if you see, my band Kickers t-shirt is right here in between Barkley
It's
and
very
Rodman.
noticeable. Yeah.
And that's so I'm thinking because we need to get the comments up and get the subscribers up and all that type of stuff. Yeah. So for all of August, starting with tomorrow's show, because tomorrow's the full. By the way, this is a half-hour show. The other two shows are going to still be the full one. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to start picking out weekly comments and start giving away band Kickers t-shirts.
Nice.
So there you go. I have an entire stack that's it's hidden behind Rodman. Rodman's blocking that. There's an entire stack of band Kickers t-shirts that I bought myself, paid for myself. Thank you to RotoWire for helping me do the design. And yeah, I'll give them away because you guys need to do some more supporting for us. So how about that? How's that sound?
It sounds fantastic. And also, everybody needs to just ban Kickers from their fantasy football leagues and rock the tee from Jake. So a little bit of both worlds there. Yeah.
The only thing I'm wondering is there's a way I can get Murray back over here, but there's nothing behind. So there's a space back. There's nothing to hold it up if I move it up. I got to figure that. Anyway, this one these are not the droids you're looking for. So you can see Data's in here. It's actually the droid from the Jetsons and Johnny Five still alive over here. So there you go.
Yeah, I see that.
Chris.
Sharp. I like it.
We finally have news of Deshaun Watson. So it's kind of the range of what most people expected. This is not definitive. The NFL can still appeal. They have 3 days to appeal. The NFL was originally holding out for indefinite/1 year. So whether that happens is a whole. But as of today, we have what we have as of today. It's 6 games. So now we have to talk about Deshaun Watson because we have the news. And, if you don't want to draft them, no problem with it. We've had that conversation in past years. If you want to draft Kareem Hunt, Adrian Peterson, obviously not drafting him anymore, but Tyreek Hill, all this type of situations, if you don't want to draft the player fully, it's your team. It's your managing team. So go with it. So here's the question now. 6th, there's Kyle Woods is already in here. He's saying, do I keep Deshaun Watson for a 9th? I think this is going to be what a lot of people are thinking is now, when do forget the rest of the players for a second, but Deshaun Watson in his own right, we know when playing, top 5 potential, no 6th, 7th, probably at worst. So when do you make that gamble knowing you're going 6 weeks without your quarterback, Chris? Do you wait until the 8th and the 9th? Do you do it a little bit earlier because quarterback's so replaceable and say, I'll do it in the 6th and know I can figure something out for the first 6 weeks and then have Watson? How are you going to play this Watson game if you are drafting him?
Yeah, I think it's key that Kyle said Superflex because I would have said no originally. I would have said no originally, 9th round.
Have to.
Yeah, Superflex, go ahead, and you can figure it out by the time he comes back. You get 3 or 4 quarterbacks. Probably have to draft 4.
Timeout.
Right? Because I
I need the fresh, or not. I was about to say Fresh Prince. I need the Zach Morris. I need that timeout where you should have just pause. So Kyle Woods. You're lucky I'm nicer on the show. because I actually hate that. Like, please give us all the information. And like, don't be like, like, hey, should I keep, Amir Abdullah in the 12th round? By the way, running backs on one touch get 100 points per touch. It's
important to know the details.
It's the information like after we already answered the question. Anyway, continue, Chris. I just wanted to say that we love you, Kyle.
At least he got it. At least Kyle got it towards the end. By the way, it is Superflex. So yeah, Superflex. I think it's a little bit still having his coffee. Yeah, you and me both, buddy. You and me both. So I think Superflex originally, ninth, fine. In a single.
So
quarterback
you wouldn't have done ninth in a single quarterback?
No, I wouldn't. I just don't think he's going to be an absolute game changer. Like, I feel like he's going to be fine. He's okay. We haven't seen him in quite some time. I suppose from a fantasy standpoint, if he's playing a full season, I'd probably have him ranked as a top 5 quarterback. But in a single quarterback league in the 9th, to keep him, I don't know, man. Like, I would just. There's so many other quarterbacks I like going in that range that I'd be comfortable with rolling out the entire season. So to take Watson.
What if it's a keeper in the 9th and it doesn't take away from other keepers? Like, I can see where you're going if it's like I only get to keep 3 and he has to.
Sure.
But if there's no other, like I can keep as many as I want and Deshaun Watson's in the 9th, I'm actually keeping him. I'm actually keeping Deshaun Watson in the 9th because worst case scenario, what's in the 9th round at that point? I mean, you're talking about fringe tight end 1s, wide receiver,
and especially in a
4s,
super
5s.
flex league.
Yes.
Especially in a super flex league. By the time you get to the 9th round.
But even what a quarterback. I would do it in one quarterback. I see him as keeping like Trey Lance in the 9th. That's where I put him in that conversation. It's like they could both be top 6, 7, but they could both potentially be, as you said, not game changers where they're along like Kirk Cousins outscores them now in this new aggressive
but
offense.
I just don't. So you would keep 2 quarterbacks, I guess, on the squad till week 7.
So that's a really good point. So if I draft Deshaun Watson, or either way, I guess if I'm drafting Deshaun Watson, you're obviously keeping two quarterbacks. My other quarterback is going to be 100% balls to the wall game changer. Like Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. Like I'm not drafting, I was about to say Derek Carr, but I go a little bit lower than Derek Carr because I'm not drafting Matt Ryan and Deshaun Watson or holding Deshaun Watson and drafting Matt Ryan to like that's going to be my 6-week replay. No, I'm going to go all out and be like, wow, I found a top 5 quarterback, and then now I have a trade chip when Deshaun Watson comes back, or potentially like because it's almost you have a safety net without a safety net. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's like it's this hybrid net.
Yeah, but you're not drafting a top 5 quarterback. Like you're not addressing the quarterback position early.
I would definitely not do that.
And then keeping Watson, like that would just be, I think that would be silly.
I wouldn't even.
Superflex, I think it's fine to do it.
I wouldn't draft a top 8 quarterback. I wouldn't. Allen, Jackson, Hurts, Herbert, Mahomes, Murray, Stafford, Burrow. If I draft any of those 8, Watson's out of play for me because I'm not drafting another quarterback if I draft those 8 anyway.
Yeah, we're getting more details from Kyle Woods. I don't know if you see. There's more details.
No, I'm ignoring him at this point. That's what you get. You can't keep throwing details at us this late.
You can only keep 4.
Too late.
Yeah. Can we just say that the suspension is BS too? Like, can we just get that off our chest? Like 6 games. Come on. Like we should be able to have that conversation here just quickly. Like Ridley betting on football. See you later for the year. I traced PEDs in Hopkins 6 games. Big Ben got 6 games, and there was one accused, one woman. And we're hearing reports from 30 to New York Times saying 55 in 6 games. It's a bit of a joke. So that's all I really got to say about that. I mean, you can draft Watson.
The only thing I don't disagree with you at all. Like honestly, if I say if with not the true definition of if. I was about to say if everything is true about him because we're never going to know 100%.
No, we don't know.
I it's kind of like when we talk about beat writers. Like when you talk about okay, 1 or 2 people are like, "Oh, watch this player in practice," and all of a sudden 6, 7, 8 people are like, "Ooh, you need to pay attention to this person." Like the more I use if within the loosest term possible because when you mention that even if it was only 25, that's a lot. 25 ifs is not really an if anymore. Right. So I say all that to say this. The only thing I could see is if they're using last year as part of the suspension, that's what they're speculating. Some people are speculating that because he didn't play all of last year, lost all of that's now it's technically a year plus 6. Yeah. Which if it is it should have been handled differently back then. Like that should have been made known. Hey, you're done for this year. we're going to reopen this or like continue our discussions after the season. Like it was like he was like suspended without being suspended. It was just weird.
I know.
Like
and he gets all his money too. Houston handled it awfully. Yeah, he gets he gets his signing bonus of 46. He gets all his 46 per year too. Like that's wild.
And, yeah, let's not talk about the fact that Cleveland set up this contract where he's only going to lose $333,000 because of how they set up this contract.
Yeah.
So
and the Browns just happen to have the easiest schedule for the first 6 games of the season too. So there's just a lot of just like random.
This is probably like the grossest example of handling a situation that might be. But
is piss poor.
Let's move on from that.
Yeah,
and we know now you know what to do about your players on the Browns for the first 6 games of scoring opportunities. We've talked about Amari Cooper. I'm not worried about Amari Cooper. I've been getting a ton of Amari Cooper, honestly, because I don't care about the volume with it. Yeah. So I want to talk about first rounders today, Chris. It's a short show. It's going to be a little fun, tongue-in-cheek, because especially when we start with number 1. Every year we have first-round busts. Every year, like, I'd say it's usually more than 50% that don't finish as first rounders. But to say a bust, like, oh, he finished as a second rounder, that's not a bust. But we do see about a quarter of the first round completely bust, whether because of injuries or anything like that. They just don't even come close. So I wanted to look at today, first rounders, and we go through, Chris, and you tell me how this person busts. Of course, the easy thing would be like, oh, he gets hurt. No, you can't say that. Yeah, like, so there has to be like a reason. Let's start. Jonathan Taylor. I know there's like a 1% chance he busts, but in what world? Let me even start with Jonathan Taylor. Maybe phrase it a little bit differently. What way does he bust being the first pick? And you should have went McCaffrey or Henry or even Cooper Kupp or somebody like. In what way? How about this? Jonathan Taylor busts and finishes at the back end of the first round.
I say it's possible. I say the way that it would happen is that, I mean, just touchdown regression, I guess, like 20 touchdowns, 18 rushing touchdowns. So, you get a new quarterback in there, Matt Ryan, that I believe Frank Reich thinks is, more accurate, more reliable, can trust him a little bit more. Even though his old buddy, Carson Wentz, he went out on a limb and to bring him back to Indianapolis, and it didn't work out. So maybe potentially you see other pieces in this offense. I know Paris Campbell's had a good start to camp. So maybe Matt Ryan is a guy that, doesn't just do what Carson Wentz did last year and pepper Pittman and just hand it off. So maybe fewer touches, fewer carries for Jonathan Taylor and maybe fewer touchdowns overall. And that's the only way. Like, I still think he's just a guy that touches the ball 20 times per game in the offense overall.
Do you think the touchdown regression would be on Jonathan Taylor or just the team as a whole? Because for everybody out there, part of the metric series that I did was looking at touches involved inside the red zone, goal to go, which is actually 5 to go. So goal to go is 10 to go. Goal line is inside the 5. And his rate of those touchdowns, like the league averages 3-point-something% scoring on those touches. Jonathan Taylor is well over 4. He's actually close to 5. James Conner was over 5. Damian Harris was over 5. Trying to think. If there was a few. So he was on the higher end, but he's Jonathan Taylor. So
yeah.
Do you think there's a world where he could fall to 2% and all of a sudden he only scores 6 rushing touchdowns and all of a sudden he's RB8 next year? This year?
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I would be shocked to see him score 6.
Okay.
Like, I think he's locked in for 10. Just given the division, the fact that they're going to play those teams 6 times this year too, and the Colts are pretty good in their own right. Like, I like their defense, but man, 18
I see what you did in their own
he's not getting
right.
18 touchdowns. Yeah, he's not getting 18 rushing touchdowns this year.
What if he gets 16?
Say that. Yeah, it probably lives in the 10 to 14 range.
So do you know who right now? Do you know who ADP has as the second running back or the second player off the board in half point PPR?
Man, it may be Justin Jefferson. Like, this guy is really starting to jump up. I think it's Kupp. I think it should be Kupp.
No, so Kupp is 5th. It's not Christian McCaffrey. It's not Derrick Henry.
Well,
right now, it's Austin Ekeler. Ekeler
wow.
right now. Yeah, and if you combine Fantrax, the FFC, Sleeper, and Yahoo, so all these half-point PPR scorings, right now, Austin Ekeler ekes out over Christian McCaffrey. So,
interesting.
Again, you're not allowed to say injury. How does Austin Ekeler bust and not be a first-round talent?
Isaiah Spiller gets more carries. I don't know. Ekeler said it himself on his own podcast with Liz Loza. He said it. He's been asking the organization to draft him running back so he could feel more fresh, and that's it. That's it. And they've tried it over the past couple of years. Roundtree, nothing. Joshua Kelly, nothing. So maybe they figured it out here with Isaiah Spiller as a guy that maybe he just gets 7-8 carries per game. Maybe he gets some goal line work. That's exactly how Austin Ekeler doesn't return value, is that he's never really a guy that you can count on, 250 plus carries. It's not going to happen. It's not what they want to do. And I wouldn't want the Chargers to do it. So yeah, he's going to be a factor into the passing game. He's a stud. He's awesome. But maybe Spiller gets 7 carries a game, 7 to 10. That would be the reason he busts.
Thank you, Kyle, for the 19 watching, only 5 likes. More likes, please.
You're back in the circle of trust with Jake.
Yes, you're back in the circle. So I'll mention you do. Yeah, I would keep Watson and Josh Allen number 1 pick in Superflex. That's available to you, which is absurd to me that he's there in Superflex. Yeah, your pick is already made for you, Kyle. So there, you got extra help. With more carries than Austin Ekeler last year, Elijah Mitchell in 11 games. Sony Michel had more carries last year than Austin Ekeler. Amazing. Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry in 8 games had 13 more carries than Austin Ekeler. Nick Chubb in 14, Zeke, Kamara in 13, Dalvin Cook in 13. So you just mentioned it, 200 carries. What if the biggest thing is now, some people say Guyton, I like Palmer. I like Palmer. What if there's a little bit more passing going to the wide receivers and all of a sudden Ekeler doesn't see 94 targets because what you just said. I keep saying I like Spiller, and I think they finally found their answer alongside Ekeler. What if it's just by not being on the field and Mike Williams is healthy all year, and all of a sudden he only gets 70 targets, which is still great for a running back. But what if it's 200 carries, 70 targets, 55 receptions, and he doesn't score 12 touchdowns on how many carries? 12 touchdowns on 206 carries. What if he only scores 10? I love Ekeler. Love him to death. I have a signed football helmet somewhere around. Where is it? Oh, it's right there behind Darkwing Duck. I have a signed mini football helmet of Austin Ekeler. But I think 2 is... So let's get to 3. You can't say injury.
Yeah.
What's the bust world of Christian McCaffrey? Is it the same thing as Austin Ekeler, maybe?
Probably. And honestly, you can't say injury, but you have to factor in the fact that he has been hurt in each of the past 2 seasons. And you do. And they're going to give more touches. Like, how about Deontay Foreman? Let's talk about him for a second. Like, he had a really good season last year filling in for Derrick Henry. Really, really strong. And he's a guy that probably deserves more touches. Like, let's loosen the load for CMC and have this guy healthy for the entire season. So this is another guy, just like Ekeler. Maybe there's not a lot of games where he's getting 15-plus carries. Maybe Foreman is good enough. Like, I think we agree that he is good enough. For me, I think he's good enough. He deserves touches. I think he should get 5 to 8 carries out of the backfield. You're going to want to use CMC every chance you get. I get it. Near the goal line, I understand all that stuff. But that would be the reason he busts as well. Not injuries. Everybody can get hurt. It's Foreman.
Let me see if you have a similar reaction than I do to a tweet I saw yesterday. And somebody said, if you think Christian McCaffrey, if you're not going to play the injury game, I'm paraphrasing, if you're not going to play the injury game with Christian McCaffrey, he should be 101 for you, not 102. There's no world where you put him at 102 if you think he's playing the full season. I get the point because every time Christian McCaffrey's on the field, it's 25 to 30 points per game. Yeah. But that's not how we draft. We have to acknowledge the injury risk.
You have to.
And yeah, you can't. So I get your point, but that's, again.
It's the same thing in baseball, Mike Trout. It's the same thing, Mike Trout. If Mike Trout could play 162 games, where would you draft him first overall? But you have to.
Condition.
I know. You have to account for that. And then last year, I just
how well you can see Futurama in that once. Like, now that I put that picture frame there, which is a sign thing from Olin Rogers, I just realized, like, you can almost see it, like, super clearly. Don't watch Futurama. Pay attention to us.
I just, like, before we move on from CMC, 18.2 fantasy points per game in a full point setting. That was like number 9. So it's not just, I see people saying the same thing on Twitter. If you don't have CMC ranked number 1 or you don't take him number 1 overall, what are you even doing? Well, guys, guess what? He didn't finish inside the top 7 in fantasy points per game in a full point setting where we know how explosive he is in that setting, what he can bring to the table is other guys that finished ahead of him. So it's not that clear cut for me.
Okay. So let's rapid fire these because now we're getting this is so. Derrick Henry, can he bust? Is it just that Tennessee all of a sudden splits that backfield similar to Christian McCaffrey? Like, that's the only I've made my case for Derrick Henry being number 1 over Jonathan Taylor. So I obviously don't see how he busts. I think the only way he doesn't is without injury. We're not playing the injury game with him.
Yeah, he was on pace for 465 carries, 503 touches, and 38 catches. So
he's not busting without even if they gave him 80% of his volume. So I'm so glad because number 5 is Cooper Kupp. Yeah. I'm seeing this is going to kind of shift the conversation here. I'm seeing drafts. I've been in drafts where people are taking Jefferson and they're taking Chase. And I'm like, you're off your bleeping rocker because 20% of you take off 20% of Cooper Kupp. He's still the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football in one scoring format. I think it was half point PPR. He's 0.1 behind Debo or is it whatever it might be. 20%. Why are we taking Jefferson over Chase? Like, is there a world where Cooper Kupp can even bust? Like, that can't happen, right?
No, I just don't see it. His worst game last year was 8.9 fantasy points. Like, that's it, 8.9. That's in a half point setting. Man, the guy had at least 29 points in 4 games, and he had 20 points in like over half of his games. There's no way he busts. The only way that he busts apart from injury is that Allen Robinson is just unbelievable. And I expect him to have a really good season. That would be it for me. I mean, Cooper Kupp is a damn cheat code. Matthew Stafford is awesome. Year 2 with Stafford and McVay and breakfasts together. No way, man. This guy's on bust. He's the safest player. I don't understand why anyone would take Justin Jefferson over him. I really don't get it. And this is what I hear from people. Well, Kevin O'Connell, he's got the Cooper Kupp role this year. And I said this to you before. You know who has the Cooper Kupp role for sure? Cooper Kupp, man. Are you kidding me with this? It's unreal. He's the safest player in football, I think. Even safer than Taylor. He's the man.
Would you take Cooper Kupp 1-on-1?
I would take Taylor because I want a running back at that point, like a true bell cow. But I would 2, yeah, for sure. He's my number 2 overall pick, Cooper Kupp.
Okay. I'm not gonna call you crazy for that one. I mean, if you would have I just made the. Actually, look, let's do it real quick. So last year, Jonathan Taylor was 357 fantasy points. So if you drop Cooper Kupp to Debo, he's 299. So 299 at running back puts him behind Austin Ekeler for 3rd. He would have been 3rd at running back behind Taylor and Ekeler, and he would have been tied right behind as the number 1 wide receiver. That's taking 20% off. So you could argue that there might be another running back in front of him, but what's worst case scenario? 5th? That's why I'm saying there's no world where he busts. All right, so because of the Watson news, we got through 5 of the first rounders. We'll have to continue this tomorrow with Lauren because I do want to answer the questions here. Albert actually asked Jefferson or Kupp over CMC. So I know you're taking Kupp over CMC. Are you taking Jefferson as well?
No, I would take CMC over Jefferson. Yeah,
Jefferson.
I think there's a world where
Ekeler?
Jefferson does bust a little bit. We can get into that another time.
Ooh.
Who? Ekeler?
Just enough for Ekeler over Henry?
I would take Jefferson over Ekeler. I would take Henry over Jefferson.
Najee Harris or Jefferson?
I would take Jefferson. I think Jefferson's going to be fine, but just like maybe some more 3 wide.
His teammate, Dalvin Cook or Jefferson?
I would take Jefferson. Yeah. Jefferson, I wouldn't let him slip really outside the top.
Okay. 5. Is there anybody left that I didn't name that you would take over Jefferson? Let me put it that way.
No.
Is that better?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
are you team Jefferson or team Chase?
I'm team Jefferson. You already know that.
I'm team Jefferson. I'm team Chase.
It's the volume and the targets. Yeah. I think Chase is a better wide receiver, but
we already figured out we're going to have to make some type of in-life real comeuppance at my wedding.
We will.
Next year.
Ooh.
Not these official. We've already had the hookup. We're gonna have the best. Just so you know, Chris, you definitely have to. We're going to have the best reception ever. Chick-fil-A trays and a candy bar where you make your own candy little things like with it. And we're even considering depending on how much food we want to have, we might have the this little cart what are the little things on the road like street food. What the hell are those things called?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of it either. It's too early. It's just a cart. I know. It's just a food truck.
Yeah, not a food cart though, but a food truck. Thank you. I could think food truck.
Not a food cart, a food truck. Yeah.
There's a food truck around here which does quick pizzas. They have this brick oven thing that goes with it. and then you can order what you want and get so you could actually have them there too for that. So. Nice. I'm not wedding yet. I said we've already talked about it. There's nothing yet. Everybody chill out. You will get news. No.
Congratulations.
I know, and there's no congratulations yet. Everybody settle down.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. So, for all intents and purposes, moving on. Tomorrow we're going to continue this. It's going to be Lauren real early tomorrow if you want to sleep in, even on the East Coast. If you want to sleep, it's 9:45 because I got to get to the dentist. But everything after that, 11 o'clock. Wednesday, back with Meaney and Lauren. We're going to do a mock draft on Wednesday. Have some fun with that. See what you guys think. And then, again, rolling next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Drop in comments. Whatever you want to say. I'm not even going to put first week, no restrictions. You can say, Chris is the sexiest man alive. I don't care. Whatever you want to put in the comments. I'm just going to pick a random comment, and you're going to win a Band Kickers t-shirt. I'll give the qualifications going forward of more of what they could be. But until tomorrow, have a good one, everybody. We love you.
Peace.